welcome to my channel. I'm Tiffany, a retired librarian turned homeschool mom. And in this video, we're going to be looking at this book. So, this is Whatever After, Sink or Swim by Sarah, I cannot pronounce her last name, Mlynowski. It'll be in the description. So this is, and I'm going to end up going backwards with this book series, the third book in the Whatever After series, which is about a girl by the name of Abby and her brother Jonah, who, when they move into a house in California, find a magic mirror in their basement that takes them to fairy tale land, where they end up interacting with the fairy tales and occasionally changing them. So, the first book is actually Snow White. I have not read that one. I am actually going to probably end up doing these books backwards. So, because I've already done the Snow Queen, which is the fourth book. You can check that out. Guys, I did that in January, because that's when I was doing Frozen and the Snow Queen. April, though I am in fact filming this in January, we are doing The Little Mermaid. So that's what this book is about. In this story, Abby is supposed to be going to Chicago with her mother to see her grandmother. She's not happy about it. Not happy about not being able to, she's supposed to go to visit her grandmother, but her mother is too busy with a legal case. Her parents moved to California to start their own law practice. So they moved from Chicago to California. So, but her mother ends up being too busy, so she's going to cancel their trip to go visit her Abby's grandmother. And so she was always talking about the indoor swimming pool and the hot tub, and she cannot swim very well. Obviously, that has something to do with this story. So when her mother tells her that, she decides to, let's go check out the magic mirror. So her and Jonah go check out the magic mirror and end up in the water and witnessing the Little Mermaid rescuing the prince, and proceed to try to convince the prince that yes, mermaids exist, and then get them introduced. Then he freaks out because she has a tail. Then she does what Abby tells her not to, which is go to the sea witch, get legs, and lose her voice. Now, this is the original Hans Christian Andersen tale, though I think it's skipping over the fact that every time she steps, she feels like razors. And it's extremely painful. But what's funny is, so they do get engaged, but it turns out the prince is a bit of a douchebag. All he cares about is that Lana, or is it Lena? Let me double check the name of our mermaid here. Let's see. Lana, Lana, is beautiful and can dance and can talk. And that's it. He does not care anything. We find this out right before the wedding because Abby teaches Lana to read and write. Well, actually, I think one of the household servants does that. Sorry, it's 8 o'clock at night. And I have a 5-year-old. It was a lot of energy. And it's cookie season, as you can see behind me. We are a Girl Scout troop, so yes, it's exhausting. But nonetheless, so that when he realizes that now she still can't talk, but she can read and write, and she's able to write something about their story, he does not care at all. It's like, you're just supposed to be pretty and dance and sit around and be pretty. I don't care if you could talk. So she gets upset and runs off. And the next day realizes that she cannot marry him. But again, like the original tale, if she doesn't marry him, she dies. So they've heard about a potion through the chef, and are able to use the spit of Lana to turn Abby and her brother into mermaids. At first, they try to go make a deal, and the chef goes with them. make a deal with the Sea Witch, but it's like, originally goes back and says, yes, I'll take Abby's watch, but you still have to kill the prince. So they decide to go to the Lana's father. So they find the sisters, find the father. Turns out that the father had a crush on the Sea Witch when they were in elementary school together. And so to save Lana's life, her father agrees to go on a date with the Sea Witch. So, turns out to actually be a fairy. But around that same time, the spell wears off. So Abby and Jonah start losing their breath and they have to get back to the surface. And Abby passes out. She wakes up, it's like, and Lana still has legs. It's like, but she has her voice back. She's like, yeah, I don't want to go back in the ocean. So the Sea Witch let me keep my legs and gave me my voice back. And I'm going to read and write and take my mother's jewels that my father gave me to buy a house on the beach with a dock so they can come and see me and I can write stories about mermaids because I still like to dance and talk. I just don't want to be married to, the douchebag who's a prince. And then basically the story is over and they have to go back into the ocean and dive through the witch fairy's cauldron to get back to their basement. So this is kind of it's an interesting story of how they look at the fairy tale. Because it's like, yes, she's so much in love with him. She knows nothing about him. Turns out he's a douchebag and just cares about her looks. And then marries some random girl on their wedding day. It's like, here, there's a princess. Let's marry her. Because it doesn't matter as long as she's pretty. And our real mermaid princess decides that she wants to remain a human without the boy. So, which I actually love. And to give the truth, the original Disney version with Ariel is she wants legs first before she meets Prince Eric. He's just kind of part of the deal. She just wants legs and shoes. Yeah, we've read some more other Disney princess stuff. Ariel likes shoes. In this story, Lana likes shoes. They like shoes and dancing. That's the one thing she has in common with the Ariel in the Disney is shoes and dancing. They want legs. Not necessarily just the prince. It's just in Ariel she gets the prince. And there's no love story between the Sea Witch and the king. That would have been interesting. But I enjoyed this. It's an interesting series. I am going to be covering Cinderella and Snow White, but again, just because of the order of which I am going in my princess fairy tales, we're going backwards with this series. But it is a great series. It's very fun. It's definitely, they're not too long. Let me see. So, it's 165 pages. No, there's no real illustrations in these, except for, like, the chapter tops. But it's fun. It's an interesting look at the different fairy tales. It's a different take on it and how these, I think she's about 10 or 11 in these books is how old Abby is. So it's definitely middle school grade. It's still in children's fiction in my library, but they're fun. They're entertaining. Definitely kind of late elementary, middle school. High schoolers might enjoy this too, even though the character's a little bit younger. But they're funny, it's quirky, and it's a different look at fairy tales. And again, they're using the original fairy tales from, in this case, it's Hans Christian Andersen. Of course, the next one in the series is another Hans Christian Andersen tale. So, and then, of course, Cinderella and Snow White are both typically Brothers Grimm. Though, again, the Disney version is taken from the French. And no, I can't pronounce his name. You can check out my video on that, too. I did Cinderella a couple years ago. So, great story, fantastic book. Definitely for the middle grades. And maybe late elementary. I would say youngest about 5th. Definitely about 5th grade. I mean, you could possibly go younger, but it's geared toward middle for preteens and middle schoolers. That's the target audience. Again, you can read up or down depending on your kid's interest. So that is it for this review. If you like what you see, be sure to like and subscribe. I am going to be doing, April is going to be full of The Little Mermaid. I will be reviewing the live action, the original animation, and the direct-to-video sequel. So we'll be looking at The Little Mermaid 2 as well. I don't know, what's the third thing? It may probably be another. I'm doing a lot of the fairy tale theater, which are 80s. So you can, you're seeing this, you can check out my Snow Queen review of Shelley Duvall's fairy tale theater. It's very, very 80s. It just is. And I did do the Snow Queen in January, along with Frozen 2, and a few other things. And then we did The Lion King in February, and we did Brave in March. In fact, I still have some more videos to shoot for Brave. This book just happens to be due at the library tomorrow, so I need to get it done. So, nonetheless, like and subscribe, leave a positive comment if you have one, and join me here in 2025 on an exploration of more fairy tales. Thank you.